Then we have eat, eats, ate, eating, and eaten. Then sleep, sleep, slept, sleeping, and slept again. Now we have, making sentences, which I'm leaving. Now come to the next exercise, which says that, you have to put the simple present form of the underlined verb. So, as they approach the great house, they feel proud of their gift. Approach without ed, feel not felt. Wendy goes into the town and buys candles. Goes, G-O-E-S, and buys, B-U-Y-S. The old man makes dresses for the gods, and his son takes them to the temple. The wife mixes and kneads, K-N-E-A-D-S, pronounced as N-E-E-D-S, same pronunciation. Kneads, although we start with K, we are saying kneads. E-A is there, but we are pronouncing as E, long E sound. Fat with and sugar. Now here there is a mistake. You say these children. It has come as this children. Okay, make a change, correct, cut it off, and write T-H-E-S-E. Some typographical errors are there. These children were pleased with the bride. Were pleased becomes are pleased. These children are pleased is the correct answer. Let me also make this change. Okay, when you can spot such mistakes immediately, and when you can correct such mistakes, that means you're moving towards communication. You're not only left with, the exercises which are there. Now it says that change the underlined into past tense. It was not good to look at the cakes before New Year. Is becomes was. The old man wanted to call his brother to look at the cakes. Wanted. The woman dressed the child in a red coat. Dressed. She combed her long hair and knotted it with a pin. Combed and knotted. He wore, wear becomes wore, W-O-R-E, his new coat and took his wife and child to the great house. Now we come to the transitive intransitive verb. I again told you, and I have given a list also, explanation list. Please read at home again and again. Whenever you have doubts, 1 year later also, you can look back at this. Don't throw it off by saying, 12th class is over, throw the handouts away. Don't do that. Sometimes, even as a teacher, I might get a doubt, in which case I have to refer to some source by saying, am I right or am I wrong? Because English is not our mother tongue. We have no reference as we have in our mother tongue. Therefore, we need such references. Okay? Now you have to say which of them are transitive and which are intransitive. So, she bought some cards from the store. Some cards is noun, so transitive. Brought is transitive. Then, she rested on the shore. On is preposition, not a noun. So, it is intransitive. The birds flew in the sky. In is preposition, so it is intransitive. Because unless noun is there immediately, it is intransitive. The gulls caught some fish. Fish is the noun. Therefore, you have a transitive verb, caught. Weeds grew in the water is intransitive because water is connected with a preposition. Whenever a preposition connects the noun, we call it as a prepositional object. So a prepositional object does not make a transitive verb. It makes an intransitive verb. We call it as an adverbial. So these are very high grammar. You don't need it. Only English teachers need these things. So I will not explain those things to you. We will now move on to the next of our lessons, and that is regular, irregular verb. I already told you. I think I need not go into regular, irregular verb anymore. I have given you a long list of irregular verbs. But you have to practice this by making sentences using them in real life context. Please use it in real life. Don't use it only in grammatical sentences in an exercise. Then I have also given you another table. You can look. Yesterday I described to you that there are 12 tenses. And these 12 tenses, I told you, are measured in what we call as the timeline. You remember I told you there is a timeline. The point which is the present is only a dot. Everything around it is past or future. So present is only one moment. Now I'm talking, it's present. I stop to take a breath, it has become past. Do you understand? That is how time is. So the simple tenses are very clearly demarcated. Anything which is present is universal. I told you this yesterday. It can be past, present, future. I gave you some examples also. You say that we sleep at night. Does it mean only tonight we are sleeping? We've been sleeping from the day we were born, and we will continue to sleep in future also. So when I say we sleep at night, we are using the simple present to cover all time factors. But if you want to restrict it to simple past, the action should be limited to an exact time in the past. So any specification in the past, 1 year or 1 century or 1 decade or 1 day or 1 hour or 1 minute, but past time. Next year, suppose we say, we came and attended a course in 2017. So came is the past tense, because 2017 is one point of time, isn't it? Although it has 365 days, it's important because it's in the past. So that is simple past. All those areas before that dot, you try to visualize the line. Dot is here. Everything before it, but any single point mentioned is the past. Similarly, future. Future, usually, simple future is preferred. Although we have future continuous, we have future perfect continuous. While speaking and writing, please avoid as much as possible. English is a language which avoids the future maximum. That's why they don't even have a word for the future. You know, from the root verb, you can't get future. But look at your own language. Look at our languages. We have a word for the future. We don't have to make future by adding a word like will or shall. Can you translate into your own languages and see? So this is the thing, that as far as possible, we use the simple future for all future action. I can say that we shall meet tomorrow. I can say that the course will end on Friday. Like that we use for the future. But I need not use a complicated one by saying that the course shall have finished by Friday. You know, shall have finished is the perfect, future perfect. It's too complicated. We try to avoid. There's only one place where these are very often used, and these are called conditional sentences. So where conditional is used, we use it. But remember that modern English, today what English we are using in the global context, avoids this conditional things. It is better not to have conditions. If I had learnt English when I was in school, I would have got a better job. No, you can't go back to school. You can't turn the clock, you know, we need a time machine. You want to go back 10 years, 20 years back to school? You have to get into a time machine. We don't have a time machine yet, till somebody discovers it. Therefore, we can't do it. What is the use of talking about, if I had done such and such a thing? No use. Therefore, please keep in mind this idea that a tense form is simple future, simple past, simple present, maximum usage. The next tense, which is very, very commonly used, is present perfect. Present perfect has maximum uses next to the simple tenses. The present perfect and the simple past difference I told you yesterday, I am repeating again today. The simple past is a tense which has mention of time in the past, no indication whether it is related to the present or not. Whereas the present perfect, the word present is there. Perfect means complete. The word perfect means it is over, it is completed. So an action which is completed in the past, not in the present, but which has an effect in the present. Suppose we say that we have completed the exercise, that means now we don't have to do it again. Suppose I want to use simple past, I say, we completed the exercise. Then sentence is not correct because we need to mention something about the time, or at least by implication if not mentioning. So I say, we completed the exercise at 9 o'clock today or at 9:30 today, which means I have mentioned. So if I say we completed the exercise at 9:30, I should not say we have completed. Because the word 9:30 immediately makes it completed, not have completed. Although meaning is the same. We completed it at 9:30. But if you remove that time clause, you have to say we have completed, not say we completed. Such small mistakes, grammatical mistakes, might not matter when we speak locally. If we make the mistake, our friends also make the mistake, no problem, everybody understands us. Remember, communication is, can others understand you? Are you able to communicate your meaning to others? But when you go into a context where there is a confusion in your job, in your life, in your travels, there might be a confusion of understanding if you make such small grammatical mistakes. Always there is no problem. Sometimes there might be a problem. Similar problems are there in words, vocabulary, pronunciation. Sometimes no problem. Same mistake you make, no problem. But it is always better to know the correct grammar also. Even if the correct grammar is not often used in your group, please be aware that you must use the correct grammar. That is important. Now, so these two are very important tenses. Now the next tenses, all three which are often used are continuous tenses. Continuous tenses use the verb form to be. So the tense of the verb, present, past, future is made by the root verb to be. Am, is, was, are, were, will be, shall be. This is how the tense is. Because it's a continuous form, the verb, the lexical verb is in the ing form. Ing is present participle. So the ing structure is used in such a way that it does not change. The lexical verb does not change its form. It is the present participle. Remember, I told you that the participles are non-finite usage. So the finite verb is to be, the lexical verb is non-finite. I can say, we are sitting in this room. Present continuous means the action is over a time. Suppose you do the action momentarily, one moment. You can't use continuous. It has to be a long period. Present continuous again can be used for past, present, future. If you say that we are studying English, you might have been studying for 5 years. You might have been studying for 5 days. So we are using the present continuous for past, present, future also. But that's rare. Present has more usage. The preferred is that you are doing the action at present. Suppose you say, I'm reading a good book. Now you're not reading the book. You're attending a class. But every day you go home and you read 10 pages of the book. That's a continuous action in the present. That means you're reading it, but not continuously. Every day you're reading. So we say that that is present continuous, although the action is not happening now, it is happening at the present time. India is playing cricket with many countries. Now India is playing cricket, maybe for last year, this year, next year, and so on. But is playing implies that it's a continuous process which passes through the present. So on the timeline, past to future, you bracket it off and put ... line. That means it's a continuous action. It's not a momentary action like simple present, simple past, or simple future. That momentary action is not there. It is an action which is going on for a period of time. That period of time concept is important. Simple past is an action of the past. It doesn't have any relation to the present, but it is usually an interrupted action. That means the action could not take place fully. You say that I was talking on the phone when someone disturbed me. I was talking, I could not complete talking. Somebody said, stop talking. Do you understand? We were having a class, here I'm using having not for the other meaning. Here it implies that we are using it the non-finite usage. When the current went off, electricity goes, mic goes, light goes, camera goes, which means action could not be completed. Class is stopped because current went off, like that. I was walking on the road when it started raining. Last night we had huge rain. Did you notice? Now, whenever such things happen, you make a few hundred sentences with correct grammar. Every experience can teach you communication, and if you apply the grammar rules, then it can teach you grammar also. That is how grammar is put into speaking and writing. If you go home every day and write about your experience in the class, what happened when you came, how did you come, bus or auto or walking, then what did you do in the class, what did you think, how did you spend after the class, who you spoke to. Write down all these things, you will find your English is automatically improving. You don't have to depend on anybody for improvement. It is coming. Because if you make 100 mistakes for 100 days, slowly the mistakes will correct themselves. But for this, you have to have exposure. Every day you must listen to good English, you must read good English. Then if you speak and write wrong English, slowly the benefit will come off to speaking, writing. This exercise you have to do for yourself. Then improvement comes. So I was telling you, past continuous, limited to the past, action interrupted. Future is also an imaginary continuous action. I will be going to college next year. So you are using going, I will be going. Now you are in school, suppose. Then you say, I will be going to college next year. I will be applying for a job after a few days. So you are using, I will be applying. Here it was fine to use simple future. I told you, simple future is the commonest. So avoid using future continuous and say, I will apply for a job. Much better. Indians love using the ing form. Please avoid. You think ing form is to be kept away from you. Keep it far away. Again, lock it. Your locker is getting full now. All gold, silver, everything is going into the locker. Don't use ing if you can help it. So instead of saying I will be going to college, you say I will go to college next year. I will apply for a job after few months. I will come to classes regularly. Not I will be coming. That ing form is unnecessary, it is redundant, because all these actions indicate an action of the future. We don't know in future what will happen, so don't give so much qualification to the future. Whether the future will be long or it will be a moment or it will be continuous or it will be completed, it is all speculation. We don't know what is going to happen in the future. So use the simple future tense maximum. Now we come to the fourth category, which is to be avoided as much as possible. But since it is used sometimes, we explain it in grammar, but not use it much. And that is called perfect continuous. Present, perfect continuous. Past, perfect continuous. Future, perfect continuous. As far as possible, future perfect continuous. No, 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 no. Okay, leave it aside. Only you can learn it. I've given it in the table. But certainly, present perfect continuous has a lot of usage. We have been learning English since childhood. You know, today again you've come to learn. All of you are adult learners. You cannot say that I'm teaching you A, B, C, D. I'm not teaching you the English alphabet. I'm not teaching you, this is my hand, this is my nose, this is my eye, which they do in the nursery class. Isn't it? That means all of you know English. So you say, we have been learning English since childhood. It's a long process. It hasn't completed yet, but we visualize that it will be completed sometime in the future. An action which continues for some time and a future completion is visualized. Continuous tense, only continuation, no end. Perfect continuous, continuation with a visual end. The end is usually in the future. Again, it is not very clear, so we tend to avoid. Where you want to use perfect continuous, the continuous can do good work for the present. In the past, there is a problem, because if you say past perfect, it is very far away. It doesn't have impact. Whereas in past perfect continuous, there is this continuity and completion there. Here the rule is that you have to use the have form, the be form, and also the ing of the lexical form. So you say, we had been working in this company. That means, had been working implies that action is completed in the past, it continued for some time in the past. At present, that action is not there at all. That is where we use it. So the past perfect continuous has usage, but it is rarely used. It is very much different from the past perfect. Unlike the present continuous, present perfect continuous, where are quite close to each other. So like that, you should not learn the tenses in that box which I gave you only, but you should learn each of them by comparing with the other tenses. How this tense overlaps something else. How both can be used for the same purpose. How it cannot be used and how they are separated. If you know this, it is better. You might read 100 grammar books and do 100 exercises. You will never learn tenses unless you are conscious of the use of tense in real life. That is why I keep advising that every day please read one page. I have said this in my impact videos again and again. Read one page of English every day, but read it 10, 20, 30, 40 times. There I could not explain why you should read. First time you read, it's for meaning. I told them you can read the life of Swami Vivekananda by Eastern and Western disciples. It's a 2-volume book, 500 page, 500 page. So 1000 days English is there in that book. Now somebody mails and asks, Madam, where should I buy the book? Can you imagine? Are you so helpless? Indians are losing IT jobs today because they only follow orders. They have no initiative. That is what we are told. Newspapers are saying. I don't know anything. But if you are like that you can't find out where a book is available when we have internet at our fingertips, when there is a website called archives.com where they have millions of books in soft copies. You don't even need to buy a book. They are all there. Excellent English is there already. You read. If I say improve your pronunciation, say, Madam, can you give link? There are hundreds and thousands of videos side by side. British pronunciation, American pronunciation. Two people are pronouncing. All you have to do is to do Google search. Now, I'm not an encyclopedia. I'm only a human being. I'm giving you suggestions. You have to follow that suggestion by searching for these yourself. Since these might also be on YouTube, I'm giving advice not only to you, to those millions others who might see this. Okay? Try to depend on yourself. Somebody goes and buys Palli. They see English newspaper, Palli. You eat the Palli and read the newspaper. Why are you throwing the newspaper? Now we have Swachh Bharat. So unless you look at real verb usage, unless you look at real verb, if you go on Sunday to the pavements, you find a book for 5 rupees, a book for 10 rupees. You have books like Agatha Christie, you have books like Earl Stanley Gardner, Perry Mason. Excellent English. Story also is interesting. Detective stories and all. Don't read the full book. Otherwise, make it a habit of reading books without understanding half the meaning. Don't worry. We used to read in school, compulsory 1 book per week. We used to go to the library, pick up 500-page book. We couldn't understand. In 6th class, we couldn't understand such big books. But we read. So 1 book per week we read, and automatically the brain is storing English. We don't know the meanings. Somebody asked me, should we look at the meaning of each word? Then we can't read at all. I'm not telling you to read 1 page once. I'm telling you to read 10 times. Otherwise, read 1 page for 1 week. When you have even the comma and full stop intuited into your mind, how a comma is put, where a question mark is put, where apostrophe is put, why we put a colon. These nobody sees. When you read the meaning, have you ever seen punctuation? Have you ever noticed spelling? In British spelling, different from American spelling. We are using British in India because we were ruled by the British for a long time. Microsoft is using American, so conflict is there. If you're typing, all American comes. When we are writing an exam with hand, we are using British. We are using both, but we should use consistently. That is how improvement comes. So if you want to learn, tenses, start looking at tenses from today. Whatever exposure you have to English, I'm using so many sentences. If you take the recording of any speech and listen to 5 sentences, you will be getting 5 or 10 tense forms. You see how the tense is used. Then use similar tenses when you speak. That is how learning is done. Okay? So with that we finish.